Some of you may be having this reaction right now, while others of you may be having this reaction. I'm hoping by the end of this video that everybody will be saying, yes, I know the metric system. Scientists worldwide use the metric system of measurement. It's based off of the number 10. Don't get confused, it's really easy. All metric system prefixes stand for the same thing, and that's what makes the metric system so easy. Let's start with the base unit. Our base unit is typically 1. Then we move up from there. The prefix deca means 10 of our base units. The prefix hecto means 100 of our base units. And the prefix kilo means 1,000 of our base units. If we look below the base unit, we can see the term deci. The prefix deci stands for 1/10 or 0.1 of our base units. Then you see centi, which stands for 1/100th or 0.01 of our base units. And then we see milli, which stands for 1/1000th or 0.001 of our base units. So what exactly this tells us is that if our base unit is 1 meter, then 1 meter times 10 equals 1 decameter. 1 meter times 100 equals 1 hectometer. 1 meter times 1,000 equals 1 kilometer. And if we go smaller than our base unit, then 1 meter divided by 10 is equal to 1 decimeter. 1 meter divided by 100 is equal to 1 centimeter. 1 meter divided by 1,000 is equal to 1 millimeter. As you can see, all these numbers are based off of the number 10. Okay, so we're going to look at the difference between our smallest units of measurement all the way up to our largest. So we're going to go from milli all the way to kilo. So we're going to start with right here, and you can see the tiny little lines right here. Each one of those, at least on this measuring stick, is actually 2 millimeters. So if we take a look at the width of a pine needle, well, the width of a pine needle is roughly 2 millimeters wide. So that's very, very small. Now it takes 10 millimeters to equal 1 centimeter. Each one of these longer dashes is going to be a centimeter mark. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So it takes 10 millimeters to equal 1 centimeter. It takes 10 centimeters to equal 1 decimeter. Alright, now we've zoomed out for you, and this measurement from here to here is equal to 1 meter. 1 meter is the equivalent of 10 decimeters. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 decimeters, which is the same thing as saying 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I could keep counting, but it's going to go all the way to 100. 1 meter is also the equivalent of 1,000 millimeters. Now it's time to see what a decameter looks like. Okay, now with the help of Jake, we're going to show you what 1 decameter looks like. So he's going to walk it all the way out to 1 decameter. Remember, a decameter is equal to 10 meters. Okay, so he's walked it out, and that is the equivalent of 1 decameter. Pretty long way. Still got further to go. Next, we're going to show you how far it is to a hectometer. For this, you need the car. Okay, Jake's in the car, and he's going to take her out to 1 hectometer. Remember, 1 hectometer is the equivalent of 100 meters. And as you can see, he's a ways out there now. See if we can zoom in a little bit. Alright. Now that is the equivalent of 1 hectometer. Next he's going to head out to 1 kilometer out. And he's driving away. And driving. And driving. And driving. The car is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Getting harder to see. Keep your eye on the car. Keep your eye on the car, guys. Keep looking at it. You can see why we didn't run this. Why we decided to drive it. Hopefully you can still see the car. Because it's tiny. It's a dot from here. Tiny dot. There go the brake lights. Alright, so he has made it to 1 kilometer out from me. Now, to give you an indication, let me zoom back out just a bit. Alright, so from me to that tree line is the equivalent of a kilometer. So that'll show you the size difference that goes between a millimeter all the way out to a kilometer. Hope that helps you put things into perspective. Converting is simple. If you want to move from a smaller unit to a larger unit, you divide by 10 for each step you move to the left. If you want to convert from a larger unit to a smaller unit, you multiply by 10 for each step you go to the right. Here's an example. We want to convert from a smaller unit to a larger unit. So the stuffed giraffe you see is 150 centimeters tall. We want to know how big that is in meters. So what we're going to do is take 150 centimeters and divide it by 10 twice, because we're moving from centi to deci and then from deci to base unit. And we end up with 1.5 meters tall. So how big would that same giraffe be in kilometers? Well, we're going to be moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units to the left. So we're going from centi all the way to kilo. So we're going to take 150 and divide it by 10 5 times. And we end up with 0.0015 kilometers. Easy, isn't it? Let's do another example. This time we're going from larger to smaller. Mr. Bear here was out sailing one day when he decided he was going to take a short stop and have some lunch. So he lowers his anchor down 150 meters to the bottom to stop his boat in place. we want to know, how far is that in centimeters? Well, this time, since we're going from bigger to smaller, we're going to take 150 meters, multiply it by 10 two times, because we're going from our base unit to decimeter, and then from decimeter to centimeter, and we end up with a depth of 15,000 centimeters. Well, how far is that same distance down in millimeters? Well, to convert to millimeters, we're going to go from our base unit of a meter to the decimeter first. Then we go deci to centi, and then centi to milli. So we're actually going to be taking 150 and multiplying it by 10 3 times, which gives us 150,000 millimeters. Here are some tips to help you keep it straight. Milli means something is very small, like an ant. Your average ant is only 1 to 3 millimeters long. The base unit always comes after each prefix. So, for example, the average height of a 4-year-old is 1 meter. If we were to take that base unit of meter, then we could add any prefix to it. Kilometer would be 1,000 meters. Centimeter would be 1/100th of a meter. You get the point. Kilo means something is very large. Good example is 1 kilometer is equal to 10 professional soccer fields placed end to end. Trust me, it's really long. Here are some common base units for the metric system. For length, we have the meter. For volume, we have the liter. And for mass, we have the gram. Now that you are comfortable with the metric system, it's time for you to do some practice. Go to the website in the description below and download the worksheets to practice what you have just learned. Have a great day!